Hey everyone, SweetJohnnyCage here, back with another guide for Demon Souls Remake, and this is the first part of my Let's Play walkthrough. Given that this is a Let's Play, that means that I am recording and talking as I play, so you may hear a little bit of background noise. I do want to give a huge shout out to two of my viewers, Pedro Stasiaki and Burger Geo. These two folks pointed out to me that I missed a treasure in the tutorial area. I finished this guide like 2 weeks ago, and I missed a very, very important treasure in the tutorial area. It's missable, it's not mandatory, but it's an item I thought was completely missing from the game, and it's the original design of the Fluted Helm, which is sort of the cover art of Demon Souls on PS3. It's like it's the identifying factor of Demon Souls armor. So, thanks to them, I'm redoing this. So if you haven't seen any of the other parts of this walkthrough, the way this works is I'm recording as I play, like I mentioned, and this is just a way for me to give a bit more help, a bit more fleshed out help than my normal guides where I just sort of focus on one topic such as a boss or a mechanic or a hidden item. This allows me to sort of give a bit of helpful commentary as I play. So we're going to start a new game here, a new file. We're going to log into the Demon Souls server. This took a little while last time. I'm not really sure why. Maybe I'll... Yeah, I can't even back out. It's weird. Sometimes this takes 2 seconds. Sometimes it's been taking 2 minutes lately. Let me try again. Yep, there we go. Okay. So, starting off in character creation, we have two body types. We have body type A and body type B. We're going to go with body type B, but just be aware that the armor style changes based on your body type. So the armor appearances are different. Body type A seems to use a bit more leather in some places, even on the knight set. So it's pretty interesting. I need to do a video of like all the different kinds of armor that changes, because I've never actually noticed that until very recently. Okay, anyway, so we'll give the character a name. We'll call it Guide. And we're also going to pick the knight starting set. It's what most people will pick outside of Soldier. Be aware that the subsequent parts of this guide, so for every other level, the character is going to look slightly different because I'm using a different body type, but I do use the same exact build. So even though this is a re-upload 2 weeks later, it has no impact on the rest of the playthrough. So all the starting classes are just fine. I will say that Royalty is probably the strongest one because it starts off with a spell called Soul Arrow. And magic in Demon Souls is really, really strong. You will still need to put points to do melee damage, but for really tough bosses, magic makes them a fair amount easier, especially if you manage your mana pretty well. So Royalty is a really strong starting class. I'm going to go with Knight, however. And yeah, again, just to see how different the armor styles are. Look at that. Completely different looking. Anywho, so for the starting gift, really the only good one is the Providential Ring. And the Providential Ring raises item discovery. For a long time, it was thought that the only way to get the Providential Ring was to start a character and select it as your starting gift. However, recently, a few weeks ago, it was discovered by a Reddit user, I think Hawthorne, with some numbers after it. I can't remember off the top of my head. They posted the method to get it, and it's via a trade with a certain NPC later on in the game. I have a guide on that if you're looking for it, but I still think the Providential Ring is a great starting item. So we'll go with that, and then we can change our appearance. Try to get something crazy looking. So maybe it's purple skin. Yeah, there we go. That's a looker right there. That's a Dark Souls character if I've ever seen one. Okay, and then we're ready to go. So, since this is not my first character, I'm going to be prompted whether or not I want to play Journey to the Nexus. I do, because that's the tutorial area. Okay, so, in the Outpost Passage, this is the first part of the tutorial area, we come across a hint on the ground, where we can read the message, and it says, press R1 for a standard attack. However, you will notice that this was not left by a player, this is instead left by the developer. And these were in the original. They were left by From Software, and Bluepoint was nice enough to bring them over in the exact same places, the exact same messages, into the remake. But a new sort of menu has appeared in the remake, and that is if we press the hamburger button, or the start button, options button, whatever you want to call it, we can go to the help menu. And there are a ton of other hints available to us, and basically using everything in the game, every sort of, from world tendency, character tendency, bloodstains, attacks, magic, bows, everything. And this menu is accessible from the start menu. If you go to game and then, or the settings menu, if you go to game and then you can go to help menu, it's right here. Anywho, moving on. I recommend two-handing your weapon by pressing triangle. And it's just stronger. It's a little slower, but actually it's not slower, it just costs more stamina to use. But you deal more damage, and this is the tutorial area. Nothing here aside from the boss can really kill you. So yeah, we could just cut through these enemies really quick. And we're going to come into a room here, and there's going to be a white phantom that runs across the room. And you'll see it here in a second. Right here. So this white phantom that you see running up the stairs, that was left by the developers. That's not actually a player. So if you were to be playing offline right now, you would still see that phantom. And I think that's a really interesting mechanic in a game for a developer to help you out. It's sort of like a natural way to show you things instead of a menu or a prompt that says, hey, go this way. It's just something to follow in a way. It's only ever used one other time in the game, in the second world Stonefang. It's the AI phantom there, or the developer phantom there, shows you a switch to pull to open a gate. In the original game, it was in a really dark place, but they lit it a bit better in the remake, so it's not as needed, but the phantom still does appear. Okay, so this hint says to hold a direction with the left stick and press circle to vault over railings. The vaulting system is something that is pretty unique to Demon Souls. I don't think it was ever brought back in any other Souls game, but you can vault over certain railings. And this is used a bunch of times in the game. However, it's only needed in this one instance. Every other time there's another way around. But you will need it to get certain items if you want them. I'll take this opportunity to show you the backstab mechanic. And basically, if you circle around an enemy and you press R1 when you are at their back, you're able to backstab them. And this puts you in a unique animation where you are invulnerable for a few seconds as the animation is playing. This can be used to your advantage, where if you have an enemy that you see sneaking up on you and you're able, or running up to you, and you're able to backstab another enemy, it can give you a bit of time to think about how you want to approach your next attack. However, it can also be detrimental in that it can also make it so you sort of get stuck. And, if that enemy has a flailing attack like these Dreglings do, then, you could be through your backstab animation while that enemy's only halfway through its flailing animation. You take a bunch of damage you could have avoided. Anyway, use backstabs to your advantage, but be wary that they can backfire. Okay, so touching the Archstone, we go to the Forlorn Outpost, which is the second part of the tutorial here. So we're now fighting soldiers who are stronger and a bit smarter than the Dreglings. These enemies don't flail around, and they don't really act as erratically. They very rarely lose focus. They are human after all. Okay, so coming up in this room here, we have our first Blue Eye Knight. And the Blue Eye Knight is basically the parry tutorial of Demon Souls. And when you see an enemy's wrist, or the hand that they are holding their weapon in, when you see that wrist moving towards you, what you want to do is you want to press L2 to sort of swing your shield and deflect or parry that attack. And if you time it correctly, you will hear a very distinct noise, and then you can press R1 to do a riposte. And the riposte is sort of like a backstab in that it's like a free critical, and it deals a ton of damage. So just like that, you can see in one hit, I kill it, dealing 150 damage, although it may even be a bit more. In a recent patch, they made it so you can never do damage in excess of what a enemy's current HP is. So just say an enemy only has 1 HP left, but I do an attack that would normally do 500 damage, the damage counter would only say 1. It's a weird choice of a patch, but I'm sure it fixed something. The other interesting thing about the remake, or one of the other interesting things about the remake, is that all the animations have been updated. So everything attacks a bit differently or moves a bit differently, but everything has the same timing. And this is especially true when it comes to backstabs and ripostes. So even though the backstab and riposte animations look different, they take the same exact amount of time. And what this allowed the developers to do was update the game, make it look really good, and make the animations look really cool and new and modern and flashy in some sense, while maintaining the timing of the combat. So if you were to play the original and then play this, outside of the obvious frame rate differences and all that, it would feel the exact same, which is a really, really nice thing that they did. They didn't really change the core mechanics. Okay, so there's a treasure tucked back here, which is half moongrass. And now we're ready to fight the boss, Vanguard, or Vanguard Demon, as he's known in the remake. I do want to talk about one very important mechanic that I haven't covered yet, and that is rolling. So if we look at my character sheet here on the right, you can see that my equip burden is 35.9 of 40, which gives me an equip burden rating of 89.8%. And basically what this means is that because my equip rating is so high, or my burden rating is so high, I'm going to roll pretty slowly. And as a result of this, I don't have as much invincibility as I would if I didn't have any armor on. So with no armor, you can see I roll a lot quicker and recover a lot quicker. This allows me to be more nimble, obviously, at the sacrifice of armor, or sacrifice of defense. However, Vanguard is a pretty unique case, wherein he is the tutorial boss that you are meant to die to. Dying to Vanguard has the same exact outcome as killing him, for the most part. That said, however, if you kill him, you get some bonus items, as well as a unique cutscene that is only viewable if you kill him. So there are benefits to killing him, which we're going to do, and I'm going to walk you through. But dying to Vanguard is not a problem. But since he can one-shot us even if we're wearing armor, we want to give ourselves the best fighting chance possible, so we just go in naked. Okay, so traversing the fog, we have Vanguard Demon, and you will quickly find out that the real boss of any Souls game is the camera. So the trick with big body bosses like Vanguard is to not lock onto them. Do not use the lock-on camera when fighting a big boss like this. You actually very rarely want to use the camera on a boss anyway, unless they're humanoid like Penetrator or King Allant or somebody. But for something like Vanguard, don't use the camera. It's going to backfire. So basically the idea is you always want to roll in the direction that the attack is coming from. Most of the times that's to the right, but if the boss has like a backhand ability like Vanguard does, you only want to roll in the direction of the attack. Yeah, so he has a backhand there, which causes us to roll to the right. Here it is again. Oh man, his hand is like grabbed us. That sucks. He hasn't done his blood stomp in a while. He also hasn't done this vertical helm splitter that he has. Oof. Talking and killing Vanguard at the same time is admittedly a little difficult. So you only really ever want to hit him twice. Going 3 times on a butt stomp is fine. But only if you're like really close to him. And the reason for that is because that basically drains all of your stamina. And you want to be able to at least roll away if you need to. So I don't recommend getting too close to any wall. The reason being because the camera can sort of get stuck in a weird position, and you won't really be able to recover as cleanly as you normally would be able to. One of the cool effects in the remake here is that you can see that he's getting bloody from all my attacks. So there's that vertical helm splitter. He will usually follow that up with a quick hit. I have no stamina here. Sorry for the sniffle. I hope I didn't blow out the speakers. So I'm going to wait for him to come at me again. Try to reset it a little bit. So that little stagger animation, I don't really know what causes him to do that. He's done that a few times for me, but never after I'm actually hitting him. Anyway, so that's Vanguard. You will likely die to him your first time. Don't feel bad. It's meant to happen. However, now I can show you what happens if you kill him. So you get a gray demon soul, which is used to upgrade a very specific weapon. Gray Demon Soul. Sorry, let me just look this up really quick. Gray Demon Soul is used to upgrade the dozer, or create the dozer axe. So you can create his weapon using that soul. Or you can just crack it open to receive 1,500 souls, which is probably what you should use it for. Anyways, that's the Gray Demon Soul, and now we can touch this Archstone and go to a secret area known as the Unknown Egress. And the Unknown Egress is inhabited by that dude over there, Dragon God, who becomes a boss later on that we can actually fight and kill. Oh yeah, there's a photo mode in the remake. I use it a lot in these tutorials to kind of show you what's lurking around corners and, you know, just some nice details. But there is a corpse over here that was not here in the original game, and it's so funny looking at it now. You can tell that this is the original Fluted armor set. I'm actually going to take a screenshot of this because this is so clearly meant to look like the box art. Wow, I can't believe that's so funny. Anywho, so if we loot this corpse, we get the Iron Helm. And the Iron Helm, I'll show you what it looks like. So this is the Fluted helm that we start off with. And this is the Iron Helm. So as you can see, the Iron Helm has a bit more of like a duck bill for the front there. And it looked a little funky in Demon Souls in the original, and it looks a little funky now. But this is the original Fluted helm from the original game. Cool. So now we fully have it ourselves. I'm actually going to take one more screenshot here. I'm going to bump up the brightness just a little bit. Hopefully you don't mind. Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect right there. That'll be a thumbnail for a video soon. Okay, anyway, now that we've done all that, we can proceed through the egress here. And there's some treasure here. And like I said, a lot of this is upgrade material. However, you also have a decent amount of full moon grass. I don't recommend using the full moon grass right away. I recommend just keeping it either in storage or never putting it on your hotbar, because it restores a lot of HP that you don't have yet. So your HP rating is nowhere near high enough to require full moon grass. Don't forget about this corpse back here. That will give you some more full moon grass. Just looking at this guy really quick. Okay, it's just a general corpse. And all these corpses here have some more grass as well as some hardstone shard, which are used to upgrade your weapon. And there's also sharpstone shard and some renowned warrior's soul. I guess there's no more grass here. And that's sort of the tutorial. So what I'll do now is I'll just walk towards Dragon God. That will play a cutscene of me dying. However, dying in this fashion allows you to retain your souls. I'm not 100% sure if dying to Vanguard allows you to retain your souls, but in any event, here's the special cutscene that we get for defeating Vanguard. And we're dead. Great job. Okay, so all is not lost because the Nexus has trapped us, and we shall remain in this world forever as a soul. So it is not over till it's over. We're going to go ahead and skip the intro Nexus cutscene. And we have died. The Nexus has imprisoned your soul, and you cannot escape the Nexus. So that is it for the tutorial area, but I will show you some of the features of the Nexus now that will help you get started on your journey. What I recommend doing is visiting these folks over here. So this guy, this is Stockpile Thomas. He is basically your storage for the game. So in the remake, there's a really excellent quality of life improvement that they've made in that if you were to pick up an item that you can see that there's item burden in this game. And normally this is a mechanic that I loathe. I don't like item burdens in video games. They just annoy me to no end. And in the original game, if you were to pick up an item, but it would make you become overburdened, then you would drop that item and you could actually lose it because it counts as a dropped item. It's not just replacing it back to exactly where you got it. It counts as you dropping that item. So if you leave the level, you lose it. And this could happen with anything, from grass to unique weapons. However, in the remake, they made it so if you are going to become overburdened, one of two things will happen. One, you will get a prompt to send that item to the storage directly or immediately by pressing the hamburger button or options, whatever you want to call it. And that's great. That's like perfect. Or if it's a unique weapon, such as the Dragonbone Smasher, Large Sword of Moonlight, Istarel, any weapon that you just pick up, in the world, it will tell you picking this up would overburden you, come back later, and the item will stay there. So that's really nice. Great quality of life improvement. So yeah, this is your storage. If you have the deluxe edition of the game, the digital deluxe edition, your Red Eye armor set will be in these inventory slots. Okay, so that's Stockpile Thomas. This is Blacksmith Baldwin, this gentleman right here, and he is used to repair your equipment, which you have to do yourself in Demon Souls. In Dark Souls 2 and 3, and Bloodborne didn't have repair, I don't think, but in Dark Souls 2 and 3, your weapons would automatically repair at bonfires. However, in Demon Souls and Dark Souls 1, they do not. You need to visit a blacksmith to repair them, or use an item that Baldwin sells. Ed's Sharpening Stone. Ed is another blacksmith in this world. This is sort of like repair dust from I forget the name. The repair dust from Dark Souls 1, where you can sort of repair your weapon on the fly. Unless you're using a very brittle weapon like Blind, you'll probably never need to use an Edge Sharpening Stone. I've only ever used them a handful of times. But you can also upgrade your weapon with Baldwin. And since we picked up those upgrade materials from just outside of, or from defeating Vanguard in that Egress area, we can upgrade our longsword to be a longsword +1. And as you see, we have 3 hardstone shards. And if you started with a different weapon, such as the Mailbreaker, a different weapon, such as the Rapier or something, you would need Sharpstone, I believe, which we did pick up. So we can upgrade our weapons here to +1. Weapons go as high as +10. Every weapon does, with very little exception, such as like the boss weapons, or the unique weapons like Large Sword of Moonlight or the Dragon Bone Smasher, stuff like that. But your general everyday weapons that you pick up go to +10. That said, however, there are infusions that you can make using different stones, and basically I need to make a full guide on this sort of thing because it's a little convoluted in Demon Souls. But basically, if you upgrade a weapon to +3, then you can infuse it with Spider Stone shards or Moonstone shards or Mercury Stone shards and have like an enchanted infusion on it. And that's another story for another time. But basically, +3 is when you start doing infusions, and +8 is where you want to stop to create a boss weapon out of that weapon you're using. But that's a long story. It's a really long guide. That's just the general rule of thumb. 3 for infusions, 8 for boss weapons, and 10 is the max. If you go past 3 into 4, I think you can still do infusions. I'm not 100% sure, but I do know with absolute certainty that if you go to +9, you cannot make a boss weapon out of that weapon anymore. You will need to go back to 0 and restart the whole thing again. Okay, so that's Baldwin. He also has some early game items, such as some grass and spice, some different weapons. I don't recommend purchasing any weapons from him. You can get a battle axe from level 2-1. You can get the crushing battle axe +1 from level 2-1. The heater shield you pick up later. You don't really need anything from Baldwin. There is another NPC over here. I believe she is called the Follower of God. She might be the Worshipper. And then over here as well, there will be another NPC, I think sitting right here. After you finish level 1-1, an NPC appears here to sell you miracles. Additionally, another NPC will appear on this side. So over here, this is sort of the miracle corner, and over here, this is the magic corner. So right here, after you finish level 1-1, Frake's Apprentice will appear here to sell you some basic spells, and then if you rescue Sage Frake from the Prison of Hope in Tower of Latria, level 3-1, he will go right here. And then later on, much later on in level 1-3, there is a vendor who sells dark sorceries, such as Soul Sucker and Cursed Weapon enchantments and really cool spells. And Firestorm, I think, too, as well. She also sells the pyromancies. Yuria the Witch, she appears right here after you rescue her. I have guides for all these folks. And then the other NPC you can rescue is Saint Urbane, and he is the miracle vendor for boss souls. So you can exchange boss souls for miracles, and once you rescue him, he appears here. The thing to note here about the Nexus as it stands right now, you cannot level up. So you cannot level up until you finish level 1-1, which is achieved by going to this archstone here, the Gates of Boletaria, and finishing this stage, defeating the boss Phalanx. After that point, you can level up. So even though we have 286 souls after leveling up our weapon, we can't actually spend them. It's an unfortunate, weird side effect. The game sort of has two tutorials. It has the Journey to the Nexus, and then it has Gates of Boletaria. Gates of Boletaria is the first full-length level where you got to kind of adventure and figure it out, and it's balanced around the starting level, like the actual starting character level, whereas Journey to the Nexus is just sort of teaching you the basic mechanics of the game. It's a little weird, but you can't level up until you finish level 1-1. After you do that, however, you talk to the Monumental upstairs, and then you have access to every other level in the game, or at least the starting level of each archstone. The other thing to note is that this archstone here, which is commonly referred to as the 6th archstone, although really this is the 4th archstone because they go in order. So 1 is the Covetous King, 2 is the Digger King, 3 is the Tower Queen, 4 is, I don't know what it was supposed to be called, but it brings you to the outer, or the outer limit or upper limit or northern limit, which is the Land of the Giants. And then Shadowmen is 5, and then Chieftain is 6. However, this archstone is broken. You can never open it, at least as of this recording. This was... A lot of us were hoping that this would get added into the remake, but it wasn't. This is cut content that never made it into the original game, and I think it's kind of nice that From Software, even in the original, effectively broke this archstone. Just to show you contextually, you will never be able to use it. Who knows, maybe it'll get added as DLC, but you never really know. The final thing I'll leave you with is a feature in the Nexus that I only recently discovered. It was talked about in a developer interview just before the game came out, and that is the ability to change characters without having to quit the game. And that is achieved by walking upstairs here and walking into this alcove with a staircase and just going to these little pedestals. So this is, you can quick load a few characters here. So all 3 of these I think are useless. So I've recorded and re-recorded a lot of these guides. So these characters are mostly useless for me. But if you have another character that you are playing with, like a main or something, you can switch them easily by going over here. And yeah, that's the current profile. Let's switch to a different one. We could load the profile by pressing start, and then we abandon our current progress, and we load it up. Oh wow, actually I think because I didn't finish the tutorial area, that didn't work. Let me go ahead and load my main character, Noodles. And this should bring us to the Nexus. The Gates of Boletaria. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back, and I'll show you how this actually works. Let's go back to the Nexus. Oh, this isn't my main character. This is like the very first character I made and wound up failing. Anyway, it'll serve the same purpose. So now that we've done that, let's go ahead and run back upstairs. This is another... This was a royalty build. So there's that soul arrow I was talking about. Great spell. Great animation, too. Okay, so let's run upstairs, and then we can visit the pedestals once more. And then now we should be able to see Mr. Guide. So this is the naked guy, but we want to visit this guy instead with the helmet. Location, Forlorn Outpost. Location, the Nexus. Let's go to the Forlorn Outpost guy. See what happens. This may kick us out again. Oh no, there we go. Forlorn Outpost. So it's a quick way to change your characters in and out, in and out. But yeah, that's it. So that is the tutorial area of Demon Souls Journey to the Nexus. The rest of this walkthrough, every single level has been recorded already. This was a re-recording just to show you how to get that helm. Can't believe I missed it the first time. Shout out to those 2 viewers, Mr. Pedro Stasiaki and Burger Geo. Thank you so much for pointing out that I missed it. I'm glad to know it now, although I wish I can go get it on my main character. But that'll be it for now. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment. I'll do my best to help you out. If you're looking for more guides for Demon's Souls Remake, please subscribe to the channel so you get alerted when new guides go live. If you're interested in supporting the channel monetarily, please consider becoming a channel member by clicking the blue join button below this video or by donating directly to the channel via the link in the description. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and on Twitch, and as always, I'm SweetJohnnyCage. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.